My parents didn't invite me to Thanksgiving because my sister was ashamed of my weight. I always knew my family wasn't exactly proud of me, but when I saw that message, it hit me like a truck. It wasn't just disappointment, it was proof. Proof that I was and always had been an afterthought. Life, a monotonous loop. Wake up, sit at my desk, write code for 10 to 12 hours, order takeout, binge watch the same shows, doom scroll on Reddit, pass out at 3 a.m., repeat. My apartment was my entire world. The only voices I heard were from podcasts and YouTube videos playing in the background. Real conversations? A rarity. Food? Whatever the nearest fast food place could deliver. Burgers, tacos, pizza. Quick, greasy, easy. I ate in front of my screen, barely tasting it, just shoveling it in while skimming through Reddit threads about people turning their lives around. Yeah, good for them. Me, tomorrow. Always tomorrow. My family, different universe. My sister, Emma, was a shining star. Smart, outgoing, successful. Worked in finance. Engaged to some hotshot lawyer. Living in a picture-perfect house with a golden retriever named Cooper. My parents loved to gush about her. Emma got promoted. Emma and Ryan are planning their dream wedding. Meanwhile, their only son, just a guy who fixed their Wi-Fi. I wasn't bitter. Not really. It was just the way things were. I even helped when they needed it. Paid off some of my mom's medical bills. Sent my dad money when he was short on the mortgage. Even covered part of Emma's student loans. Did that earn me a seat at the table? Nah. Just another favor in the John's a good guy category. Then that message. My cousin Nate sent it. Bro, check this. It was a screenshot from the family group chat. The one I wasn't in. They were planning Thanksgiving dinner. Emma was bringing her fiancé for the first official meet-the-family moment. My parents were over the moon. Finally, a real family gathering, my mom wrote. It'll be nice to have everyone together. Everyone. Except me. I checked the date. 2 days away. No call. No text. Not even a courtesy invite. I kept scrolling, waiting for some mention of me. Maybe they just assumed I wouldn't come. Maybe they thought I was too busy. But then I saw it. My dad's response. John probably wouldn't enjoy it anyway. He doesn't like big gatherings. That was it. No debate. No. Should we ask him? Just a simple, quiet dismissal. I stared at my phone, rereading it over and over. I could have texted my mom, could have called and asked why. But what would that change? Nothing. I wasn't part of their world. And maybe I never had been. I set my phone down and just sat there, staring at the wall. My mind wasn't racing. It wasn't even processing. It was blank, hollow, like all the air had been sucked out of the room. Not being invited stung. But what came next? That shattered something inside me. My cousin Nate sent another message. Man, I don't even know if I should show you this, but you deserve to see it. I found it by accident when I was helping my mom set up her new phone. She asked me to transfer her contacts, and while I was in her messages, I saw a group chat she's in with the women in the family. They talk about all kinds of stuff. Weddings, recipes, gossip. But then I saw Emma's message, and man, I couldn't just ignore it. Another screenshot. This time, it was from the group chat, the same one I wasn't in. We shouldn't invite John. He wouldn't add anything to the conversation. And honestly, his weight. I don't want Ben seeing that. It's embarrassing. I read it, then reread it. And again. Each time, the words hit harder, like a slow, twisting knife. Emma, my sister, the one I'd bailed out when she maxed out her credit card in college. The one I'd covered rent for when she was figuring things out. The one I thought, at the very least, respected me. She was ashamed of me. Not because I was a bad person. Not because I had done something awful. Just because I existed in a body she didn't think was acceptable. I dropped my phone onto my desk and just sat there. Silence. deafening silence. My ears were ringing, my heart pounding somewhere deep in my stomach. I thought of all the times I had her back. When she was struggling, I helped. When she needed something, I showed up. And this was what I got in return. The anger didn't hit all at once. It built, slow and cold, a pressure creeping up my spine. My hands clenched into fists without me realizing it. My own family, my parents, my sister, they had already written me off. But this was something else. This was personal. I grabbed my phone, went to the family chat, and deleted it. Gone. I went to my contacts, scrolled to my mom's number, my dad's, Emma's. Blocked. One by one. For the first time in my life, I felt something shift inside me. A realization. I didn't owe them anything. Not my time. Not my energy. Not my money. I pulled up my banking app. The auto payments for my parents' mortgage? Canceled. The help I'd been sending Emma every month? Done. I sat back, exhaled, and felt lighter. Like I had been carrying a weight I never noticed until I dropped it. Let them figure it out on their own. I canceled my Uber Eats subscription that night. No more mindless scrolling through fast food apps. No more late-night orders because cooking felt like too much work. The next morning, I emptied my kitchen. Sodas, chips, frozen pizzas, everything went into the trash. When I opened my fridge, it looked like a sad bachelor survival kit. Eggs, a bag of spinach, some chicken breasts, and a bunch of bottled water. It felt weird, but also different. Like I wasn't just letting life happen to me anymore. The first morning run? Absolute disaster. 2 blocks in, my chest was on fire, my legs felt like cement, and I was gasping so hard I thought I might pass out. A couple of teenagers passed me on skateboards, smirking. "Keep running, big guy," one of them shouted. My face burned, but I kept going, at least until I had to stop and lean against a lamppost, trying not to throw up. Still, I walked the rest of the way home, drenched in sweat, feeling pathetic but also weirdly accomplished. Day 1 was done. A few days later, I stepped into a gym for the first time in over a decade. The place smelled like rubber and effort, and everyone looked like they actually knew what they were doing. I felt out of place immediately. Then, a trainer caught my eye. Massive guy, arms like tree trunks. He gave me a quick nod and said, "Everyone starts somewhere." Simple, but it stuck with me. I wasn't here to impress anyone. I was here to change. Back home, I threw myself into work. My day job was fine, but I had a side project collecting dust. A startup idea I kept telling myself I'd work on someday. Well, someday was officially today. I started coding in the evenings, making simple, healthy meals instead of reaching for takeout. I subscribed to fitness YouTube channels, listened to podcasts about discipline, and checked my step count like my life depended on it. Then, after 2 weeks of radio silence, my phone rang. Unknown number. I hesitated, then answered. It was my mom. Her voice was cautious at first, but then she got straight to the point. Why had I blocked them? Why was I ignoring my sister? And, most importantly, why had I stopped sending money? I let the silence drag out before I answered. Calm. Direct. I told her I was done, that I didn't want to talk to them. Before she could argue, I hung up. Then, without thinking twice, I pulled up my messages and sent her a screenshot of Emma's text from the family chat. Read. No reply. I set my phone down and exhaled. For the first time in my life, I wasn't the family's personal ATM. I wasn't an afterthought. I was just me. And that felt pretty damn good. Months passed, and things started changing faster than I expected. My clothes felt looser, and at first, I thought maybe the dryer had stretched them out. But when my jeans almost slipped off my waist without unbuttoning them, it hit me. I was actually losing weight. One afternoon, I walked into a clothing store and grabbed a couple of shirts, out of habit picking my usual size. In the fitting room, they hung off me like bed sheets. For the first time in years, I had to go a size down. then another. I stared at my reflection, barely recognizing myself. It wasn't just about looking different, I felt different, lighter, more in control. Even my posture had changed. Other people noticed too. At the coffee shop I visited every morning, the barista, who had always just taken my order without much small talk, suddenly started making conversation. A casual, "Hey, how's your morning going?" turned into remembering my usual drink, then throwing in a free shot of espresso just because. I wasn't naive. I knew what was happening. I wasn't invisible anymore. People treated me differently, and while part of me resented that, another part felt good. The changes weren't just physical. My energy level skyrocketed. I was waking up earlier, getting more done, and for the first time in years, I didn't feel like I was dragging myself through each day. My startup was picking up steam. What had started as a side project now had real traction. One afternoon, I got an email from a potential client, someone big, the kind of contract that could replace my day job entirely. I sat staring at my screen for a long time before replying, realizing that for the first time, I wasn't just another cog in someone else's machine. This was mine. Even grocery shopping felt different. Instead of tossing frozen meals and junk food into my cart, I actually planned meals, cooked for myself. Walking through the aisles, reading labels, picking fresh produce, it felt like a small victory every time. The old me would have rolled my eyes at this kind of thing, but now, it felt like I was finally in charge of my own life. Then came the text from my dad. Short, almost casual. "Hey, son, haven't heard from you in a while. Everything okay?" I stared at it. Not a single mention of the months of silence, the ignored calls, the fact that I had cut them off financially. Just a simple check-in, as if none of it had happened. Maybe he thought if he played it cool, I'd just slide back into my old role. I didn't reply. That night, I did something I hadn't done in years. I downloaded a dating app. Setting up the profile was easy, but when I reached the part where I had to upload a picture, I hesitated. For the first time in my life, I wasn't ashamed of how I looked. And that was something new. The call came out of nowhere. My sister, the same sister who had written me off months ago, the one who didn't want her fiancé to see me at my worst. Now she was inviting me to her engagement party. Her voice was sugary sweet, the kind of tone you use when you want something. She mentioned seeing my recent posts, pictures from the gym, post-run selfies, me actually enjoying life. The shift in her attitude was obvious. This wasn't about reconnecting. It was about optics. Now that I looked the part, I was acceptable again. I told her I'd think about it, but I already knew my answer. The day of the party, I walked in wearing a fitted navy blue suit. Not just something that fit, I owned it. The moment I stepped into the venue, conversation slowed. People glanced, then did double takes. My parents spotted me first. My mom's smile was too quick. My dad's nod too casual, like they weren't completely blindsided by how different I looked. Emma's expression was harder to read. She played it off, but there was something behind her eyes. Maybe surprise, maybe irritation that she hadn't been the one to control this version of me. She walked over, arms outstretched like we were the best of friends. I let her hug me, but I didn't return it. The venue was upscale, dim lighting, overpriced drinks, the kind of place where appearances mattered. And tonight, I wasn't the awkward, overweight brother she wanted to hide. I was something else entirely. That's when I met him. Ben, Emma's fiancé. He extended a hand, his grip firm but not overcompensating. His eyes flicked over me. Then he grinned. Man, I know what it's like to struggle with weight. I was the fat kid, too. I raised an eyebrow. I wasn't expecting that. Ben leaned on the bar, nodding toward the crowd. Lost it in high school, but I remember how people treated me before and after. It's crazy, right? The same people suddenly act like you matter more. I took a sip of my drink, considering his words. He got it. He actually got it. For the first time that night, I felt something shift. Maybe this party wasn't just about Emma. Maybe there was more to uncover. I swirled my drink, watching the way Ben's expression shifted. He was still relaxed, but there was something different now. A flicker of curiosity, maybe suspicion. Like he sensed the conversation was about to take a sharp turn. I leaned in slightly, lowering my voice just enough to keep it between us. By the way, do you know why I wasn't at Thanksgiving? Your fiancé didn't want you to see me when I was fat. Ben's eyebrows pulled together, his easygoing demeanor flickering for a split second. He glanced over at Emma, who was laughing with some guests, completely unaware of what was coming. Wait, what? He blinked, his grip tightening around his glass. You're messing with me, right? I took another sip, letting the moment hang. Nope, she didn't invite me. Told my parents it'd be embarrassing for you to meet me back then. The second the words left my mouth, the entire vibe shifted. Ben's jaw tensed, his fingers tapping against his glass in a slow, measured rhythm. His eyes flicked back to Emma, expression unreadable. Is that true? His voice wasn't loud, but it cut through the background noise like a knife. Emma's laughter died instantly. She turned, eyes darting between us, her smile faltering. What? Her voice was too high, forced. It's not like that. Ben set his drink down, his movement slow, deliberate. Then what's it like? Emma's mouth opened, then closed. She shot me a look, as if I was supposed to back her up, smooth things over. I thought it would be better if. Ben exhaled sharply, shaking his head. Wow. Silence stretched between them, thick with the weight of what had just been said. Nearby, people pretended not to listen, but I could feel their eyes shifting toward us. This wasn't going to end the way Emma thought it would. Ben straightened his jacket and pushed away from the bar. Without a word, he turned and walked toward the exit. Emma stood frozen for a beat before snapping out of it. Ben, wait. She hurried after him, her voice climbing higher as she called his name. But he didn't stop, didn't even glance back. Then, just loud enough for me to hear, one of Emma's friends muttered, "Oh, damn. Did he just?" Yeah, he did. He just called off the wedding. The moment Ben disappeared through the doors, Emma turned on me like a storm. Her face was red, her hands clenched into fists at her sides. This is your fault. You ruined my wedding. People were watching. They weren't even pretending not to anymore. The whispers spread like wildfire. Emma, always the picture-perfect one, was unraveling in front of everyone. I let her words hang in the air for a moment, then tilted my head. Maybe you should have been a better sister. Her expression twisted into something ugly, like she wanted to scream but couldn't find the right words. She looked at our parents, silently begging them to jump in, to fix this. But for the first time, they had nothing to say. My dad, always the one with a polished explanation, opened his mouth, then shut it again. My mom just stood there, eyes darting between us, realizing, maybe too late, that the control they'd always had over me was gone. Emma let out a frustrated breath, shaking her head. You think you're better than us now? Just because you lost some weight? Because you finally decided to grow up? Her voice wavered at the end, her confidence cracking under the weight of her own embarrassment. I let out a quiet laugh. No, Emma. I think I was always better than this. I just didn't realize it until now. The crowd around us was frozen, watching every second like it was some reality TV drama playing out in real time. One of Emma's bridesmaids covered her mouth, while another subtly stepped away, as if trying to distance herself from the chaos. Emma's face contorted again, her pride barely holding together. You know what? I don't even care. Ben's overreacting. He'll come back, and this will all blow over. Yeah? You sure about that? I gestured toward the entrance, where Ben had disappeared minutes ago. Because I don't think guys like him settle for people like you once they see the truth. Her jaw dropped. I wasn't even mad anymore. It was just sad. The silence stretched again. My mom shifted uncomfortably, like she wanted to say something, but knew it wouldn't change anything. My dad rubbed his temples, probably trying to calculate the least damaging way to spin the situation. But it was too late. The damage was already done. I shook my head, letting out a final chuckle. Wow, look at this. The perfect family. Speechless for once. Emma took a step forward, but I held up a hand. Don't. We both know how this goes. You'll try to twist this, make it my fault, but not this time. I'm done. Without waiting for a response, I turned on my heel and walked out. The cool night air hit me like a reset button. I made my way to my car, slid into the driver's seat, and gripped the wheel. I exhaled, long and slow, then smirked. And just like that, I drove away, leaving them all behind. Months passed, and my life had never felt more like my own. No more looking over my shoulder. No more waiting for validation from people who never really saw me. I was free. My business was booming. The little startup I'd been grinding away at had finally landed some big clients, and for the first time, I wasn't just getting by. I was thriving. I wasn't just another guy behind a screen anymore. I was building something that mattered, something I could actually be proud of. And the best part, I did it for me, not for them. And then there was Rachel. We met at a networking event. One of those awkward gatherings where people pretend they're more interested in making connections than getting free drinks. She was different, though. Sharp, witty. The kind of person who didn't just ask what you did for a living, but actually wanted to know who you were. We started off with coffee. Then came late-night talks, spontaneous road trips, weekends where we did nothing but sit around watching garbage TV and laughing at how bad it was. It wasn't forced. It wasn't rushed. It just fit. One night, curled up on the couch with her feet in my lap, she glanced at me during a commercial break. "You don't talk about your family much." I shrugged, keeping my eyes on the screen. Not much to say. She didn't push, just nodded like she got it. And maybe she did, because family isn't about blood. It's about the people who show up, the ones who actually care, the ones who don't just tolerate you, but choose you. Emma never reached out after that night. My parents sent a couple of half-hearted texts, but I let them sit there unread. The past was exactly where it needed to be, behind me. One afternoon, a notification popped up. An old friend had tagged me in a throwback post. One of those cringy, look how far we've come photos from years ago. I barely recognized the guy in the picture. The oversized hoodie, the slouched posture, the way he looked like he wanted to disappear into the background. I didn't hate him. I just wasn't him anymore. Rachel leaned over my shoulder, peeking at the post. Damn, that's a glow-up. I smirked, locking my phone and tossing it onto the table. Yeah, it really is. And for the first time, I wasn't looking back.